What is up, everyone? We're live. Just had a crazy first game draw entitled Tuesday. Unfortunately, just a wild up and down affair against a WIM here. But yeah, didn't really have the stream set up. Played my first move a little late.
The game ended in a draw, but you missed a chance to win. This is a good...
No. Oh my goodness. That's terrible. Don't do that. Why was it talking to me? Okay. Let's share the stream. Give me a moment. In the Discord, you'll see me post it. The game ended in a draw, but you missed a chance to win. And I'm sure the next round will be starting momentarily in Title Tuesday. Whoops. Don't look at everything. Live for Title Tuesday. Title Tuesday now is 4 o'clock Eastern. It used to be 5 o'clock Eastern. Didn't realize. It's actually been a minute since I played a Title Tuesday. Alright. Let's have a look at this analysis. What's up, Rich Pitch? Yeah, so this, I mean, the opening I think was good. And I just don't want to hear from you, but I do want to know when my next game starts. Okay, so this is a nice opening in that our opponent gets the bishop pair, but we should have some sort of development initiative here. The other thing I want to do is actually slow down my mouse speed a little bit. Why my mouse is so fast. Okay. Should be now a little easier. We get some initiative here. Oh, well, the next game started anyway. Okay. Title Tuesday, here we go. Bushgas Gambit. This will be fun. What's up, Gambit? I want to see some Bankos. You know what? Me too. Me too. Let's move the chat box to above my head. We have a Bushgas declined. We'll give them another chance to take it. Should be a direct Stafford transposition if they do. What a lame move. Alright, I'll castle. Let's see what's going on. Knight takes. Well, it's probably actually still objectively a good move, because it does threaten d4. Okay, bishop c4. Can I play, like... Probably not. I mean, c6, knight e5, d5. The thing is about c6 is honestly just castles. Or c6, d3, probably. e5, d5. Takes, bishop moves, d4. Probably gets me nowhere. So I'll play this here, yeah, with c6. I'll see if they're interested. d5 and then trying to get them on this e line. Honestly, I think d3 is a solid choice. And then I think if d5, bishop b3, yeah, then they're okay. de4, de4. Probably best just playing d6 here, honestly, instead of g5. Probably the safest option. And so we just have a weird sort of Italian where it's like I am the white player ahead of move. Or behind a move, rather. Because I'm actually black. You know, like I put the pawn on c6 and c3, which is what white's kind of supposed to do in the Italian. We tried to gambit. I was holding these and everything. a3, I'll play a5 so they don't expand. I could have played a5 myself, threatening to trap the bishop with this little idea. But they probably would have created this square so that the bishop is not running out of squares. So a5 will take away b4. They'll tuck him back in anyway. I will probably proceed with my stuff, rook e8. My guess is my opponent is an Italian player because they're wanted this structure, and they're playing here and here. So we've got a reverse Italian. Bishop e3. I can ignore that. The thing is, I wanted to play knight f8. My knight wants to recapture. Otherwise, just taking. I'm sure that's what the engine would recommend, but those positions are always a little suspect. I'll play b5 kind of while I think about things. Because I want a knight f8. b5 is like just a move to expand. Okay, I'm happy with that trade. They didn't have to take me. They didn't have to take me. So my next idea from here is either maybe b4, if I can get away with it. They're kind of taking my idea. Or the other one was going to be bishop e6, take knight takes, and the knight coming over here. Otherwise, I could play with d5, knight g3. Well, actually, they can't really play knight g3. So d5, they're probably taking, and d4. So let's play your d5. So pawn takes d5 is now forced because there's a lot of pressure here. I'm going to go with knight take. Well, they have knight e5, don't they? E5. Rook e5, d4. They didn't want it, regardless. So pretty simple. I'll just come here. Rook a7 is a slick idea. I gotta watch the clock. It's probably just gonna come down to that, as things generally do. Kind of a shame. I mean, I wanted to put my bishop here, but too much pressure on e5, and I need to coordinate. So now knight f4. I think if knight e5, I can take on h3. Or knight e5, I can go rook takes. They can't take my knight because of check. This is annoying. I'd love to be able to like play f6. Go here, rook takes. Unless I had ideas of like taking. Rook can try to cut across. We are short on time. Takes. G6 is not playable. Okay, I'll just go f6 while I think. Cut me there, but okay, I can always just play f5 if I change my mind. Do they want this? Probably. It's probably a good move. Do right now. Knight here. I think this is good. I'll try to take this line if I can. What are my other ideas? Maybe queen f7. 7. Coming here. Oh, that's free, right? That was the whole point. Maybe not. You just queen 3. Okay. Rook here. Or rook here. Is that a good idea? I'm not sure I had to do that. But, okay, wait. This should be winning. I defended this. I'll go with rook c3 and just eat these. They're also kind of tied down. Well, now rook c3. Kind of stuck. Defending h5. See, it's defended now. I can just do that, right? This should win because I have 2 extra pawns. So the king needs to stay there in this little box. Rook needs to stay tied down here, also go rook c1. Wait. How do I win? No, this isn't working. No, what? It repeated? I don't understand. because it should only be claimed by the arbiter if it's fivefold, right? This was probably the third time it occurred, in which case my opponent would have had to claim it, which probably didn't happen the nanosecond they made the move. So I don't really know. Yeah, so it happened once here, once here, once here. But why does chess.com claim it? That's really not consistent with the rules of chess. Oh well. That sucks. This, yeah, I mean, I could talk about this endgame. It's actually quite interesting. And I got a little maybe haphazard pushing my pawn all the way to b2. So the thing is, if their king ever comes here, pretty obviously I win with any check. I win with any check, king, because if my rook can ever just come there for a moment, then I'm going to be able to promote. So this rook needs to stay on b2, right? If it comes to a7, I just play rook c1, and if you can't take my pawn, I'm going to promote, right? And just trade on b1 and win. If king f3, then I can go check and promote and win. The other issue, so it can't come to the third rank. The other issue is it must stay here. If it comes to f2, how do I analyze? Can I move? Oh. So if it comes to f2, I can just play rook h1 and win, threatening to promote. And then if takes, I have check, which wins the game there, right? So yes, king f2, I can just come here, check, rook h1, rook takes b2, and check, winning. So that's also not an option for white then. Their king must stay on h2 and g2, so that they can't get skewered, and so that they can't get checked. Now the thing is, if you, so I kind of figured with an extra pawn, I'll just create another pass pawn, and the rook can't, you know, stop that pawn, and the king can't stop that pawn, right? The rook must stay eyeing b2 to keep my rook here, and the king must stay here and here. The thing is, my extra pawn is just on the h line, so you can imagine a position where I just kind of push. Oh, the next game started. But I would be stuck here. It's not obvious how I'd win. Anyway, next game. Let's pull this one out. Tough draw there. Let's try... Well, let's just play knight c3. c3 next time. I like this attack, but they played g6. Bishop g7. Okay. I'll just take it in a2. Sorry, I was not looking at the comments. What's up, Gambit Cow? My dad. I have 6 here. Let's play d3. Hello, everybody. Come back, bishop a4, keep the pin, I guess. b5, I'll just come here. I mean, could have transposed very easily. Am I threatening to take this? Yes. 84, the queen would defend from the bishop, so it doesn't work. So I am threatening. You need to do something about that. I kind of thought b5 and d5. Otherwise, like, I don't think they want to play this move. They might have to. So they come up with something creative. But e5, they don't want to play it because f4 then looks pretty nice. Yeah, so they're trying to avoid it. If I play f4 now, I guess knight e4 and d3, potentially. I'm kind of curious about... Just throw an a5, I'll just play a3 or a4, just so I don't get trapped. I'm kind of curious about the idea of playing f3 instead of f4. I know it looks maybe a little ridiculous, but f4 kind of, like, okay, the knight can come to e3, I have to deal with maybe d5, or knight takes e4 check. Like, what if I just do this? No knight e4, knight g4. I can play queen f2 if I want. Knight moves. Okay, I'll bring my queen to h4. But yeah, this was kind of like their main sting. I didn't block this bishop, right? A4, A3. 3. Maybe A4 is better, because if I could have gotten B4, that would have been nice. I wouldn't have had to deal with C2. Now, potentially, I'll have to deal with C2. Potentially, I'll have to deal with C2. Okay, F4 right now, I guess, yeah, still an 84 and D3. So let us... This looks nice. And now my bishop actually could have this square. Could be good. I'm not sure this was a great move. I'm not sure why they had to do that. I think they could have proceeded with like A4 and brought the rook and attacked. Now I'll play F4 myself. This could be a good move right now. Bishop B7 is not on the table. Takes and I would win that. I'll just play F4. So yeah, they don't have F6 or H6. Suddenly, like, my pieces are looking good for an attack. Bishop E7 is already on the table. Rook moves, takes, and bishop and rook win that. C5. So yeah, this was why I was considering doing it earlier. Bishop D5, bishop B7. Then I'm kind of obligated to make that trade. I guess they have knight takes B7. But okay, I mean, that's fine. Queen takes, I think I will win this. Right, so that's good to force that. Now do I want F5 or F takes E5, which helps me? It's gotta be F takes E5. Okay, well, let me just put my bishop here. Because then, if it's F5 now, right, there's no F6. This might have actually been really smart. Rook C8, I can ignore it. Rook takes C2. Are they realizing my idea? This is good that I made them burn this move. Now my idea is pretty clear. I think take, F6 check, king moves, and queen H6. Just trying to get to G7. Rook G8. And then I just play Rook F3, Rook H3, and win this. So they had to do that. Okay, getting pretty low on the clock. Oh, no, do I have to trade queens? Well, if takes... Oh, no, I don't have that. Okay, let's dodge this. How do I attack? I'm not sure I really have one. Kind of a shame. I thought I had something, and I really didn't. Didn't. Politics. Is queen d2 annoying? Actually, yeah, pawn takes is best. I need to keep the queen out of this square, I think. One good thing is this is annoying for their rook. Whoa, wait. I don't know. Oh, what? I didn't see that at all. Shit. Oh, that might be kind of good. Oh. Oh. Did I just win? What? I should not have won this game. Okay. This is the thing about short time controls, is it was like a good quality chess game, and then it's always like, well, it's always decided by just random blitz out stuff. So it's like, I don't know, blitz is something else. Chess should be longer. Just like a little bit longer. Just like, why are the only time controls that people ever play either like 3 minute when they play online, or like 3 hour when they play over the board? I just want something in between. Like 3 hours is way too long. It's brutal. 3 minutes is just like not real chess. Like, why can't we just all play just like 20-minute games? That's what chess should be. Still an element of like, you got to make fast decisions and a lot of intuition, but not just ridiculousness at the end. 20-minute games, that should be what we play in tournaments too. You know, FIDE rated 20-minute games. You can get GM title if you're really good at it. Then it wouldn't be like as slow and as stressful and as brutal. When people are like, it's crazy that you play, like total non-chess people, they're like, it's crazy that you play 6-hour games. I'm like, you know what? You're right. It is crazy. I don't know why they're that long. When I play online, I play this time control. Why are the only things... I don't want this review. I just want to analyze like a normal person. Okay, whatever. No one plays 20-minute online. It's true. I'm talking about like over the board. I don't know. It's long. Long. Okay. I mean, what even happened here? We had... I think this position was pretty nice. I don't want this guy. I just want to analyze. Okay. Position here is pretty nice because, like, this pawn, we made them do this kind of capture, and then we played d3. No, this pawn is kind of a target because you don't want to play... What was kind of wrong here? Yeah, this... well, I was right about this. e5 was not a good move. Because, yeah, you can just play your a4. Never really give me anything to work with. Okay, bishop's moves, rook c8. Lots of pressure on c2. The one thing about this pawn that this pawn does do is it ties down this guy, opens this file, with c takes d4. So yeah, that could be a lot of pressure here. But the downside of it is if you have to play e5 to defend it, which you don't. My opponent successfully actually navigated without it. Now I should have a big attack. And I think this was an instructive point here, that if I navigated this correctly, it could have been at least. After takes b7... Okay, queen takes b7 I thought wasn't on the table because bishop e7 and I'm winning something. Apparently they just should have sacrificed this pawn. So they played knight takes b7 to hang on to that guy, right? Now, with bishop f6, basically my point was f5, there's f6. Oh, I can take it right now. f6 is not a good move. I can take it and then just win this. I'm threatening mate. I can't take my bishop. Yum. So, I didn't see that. Bishop f6, my secret plan was... well, my secret plan was like takes and then f6 and then queen h6 without having to deal with this. But anyway, it didn't quite work out. Alright, next game. So we're doing okay. We're playing a strong FM now until Tuesday. c4, a6. They immediately knew what they were doing? Well, what if I play e5 now? Isn't this like good? Now that you've played this dumb move c4. Whoa. I wanted to put a bishop here. That's kind of unfair. I should have done it last turn. I should have bush gasified this position. I can't believe I didn't do that. Okay. The bush gasification of this position didn't quite happen. Alright, well, I have to take it. So check bishop d2. I could just kind of trade a lot of things. Let's go here. I want to make use... I could play this with queen f6 also, which is actually kind of a compelling move. But bishop c5, I would come back to a7. It's fine. This is kind of compelling. It's like this position. So it's very similar to a scotch. It's just we have these moves included. I'm not really sure that's benefiting. I think now, like, you don't have this move c3. So how are you blocking this check? Knight d2, right? Okay, so your next move is a3. If I go here, is that annoying? Are you defending this? you could gambit. A3 takes bishop E2. Then I would have to take this knight. That would otherwise win my queen. Takes D2, knight E7. So, okay, instead they're going to give me this one. Or G1, but it's probably not advisable. Queen H3, or G7. Probably not advisable. Okay, let's play D6 then. Okay, wait, they were offering me this one also. Are they offering me bishop H3? Knight H4. Queen... No, they're fine there. Queen F6. We'll just kind of move their knight. I mean, I feel like I can just draw the game going back and forth. I don't want to do that, though. Let's just develop. I'm actually dangerously close to getting trapped. If this bishop controls these squares, I'm trapped. Now that I just did that. So potentially not the smartest. Bishop H3, knight H4. Okay. Well, they're going to go with that. Let's use that square we made. Now bishop... Well, it's still offering me this. Bishop H3, knight H4, queen H6. Playing it with probably... Okay, castles. Here in H4 still. Yeah, because queen G5 they have this, right? Probably just want to target right there then. Still really thinking about it at any moment. Just trying to make it work. Spent a lot of time in the opening, which probably wasn't good. As I usually do. Okay, now you gotta figure it's good, right? I mean, they were really prepping E5. Just trying to... Because I'm using this square now. Now the bishop's no longer there. I figure this is good. G3, I would just kind of take the rook as long as my queen has squares. This could be a problem, but pawn takes... I would play pawn takes. Then I'd use the square. Otherwise, they'd go here. Do something... I have bishop G2. Knight G2 and take. Here, I also have like moves like bishop D4, take, knight takes, queen no, I don't want that. Here, very interesting position. Should be able to make this work somehow. G5 is also compelling. King H1. Takes, take. Yeah, that would win. Knight F3, G5, takes F6, take H4. Again threatening. That's... No, an 81. Some funny line there. I mean, probably just... Okay, they're going to give me the rook. I should probably take it. And then bishop D4 should just be up in exchange. As long as my queen isn't trapped, which I keep saying. Hopefully she's got some squares. H3, we can go here. There's no bishop E2. Nobody can attack me there. So we're good for the moment. That's probably smart. Let's just come here. I don't know. Should probably be on H3. Oh, queen... No, I don't know. Just wanted to take F2, actually. That was a good practical choice. No, I have a square. Queen E6. Don't run out of squares. should have stopped that. I should have played h6 myself. What's a move? No, just stupid. Tough. King g8, because there was just check here. Yeah, their pieces actually became very good. I kind of thought I would have compensation if I took on f2. And I'm not so sure why I thought that. It's just kind of a little tricky to play with not much time. But this was a very poor decision. That was a very poor decision, I'm sure. Queen takes e5 and I'm cooking. Right? Queen takes e5. And we're probably doing quite well. Where's the analysis? Lines on? Oh well. This was probably a big mistake. Because, yeah, queen takes... I mean, attacking the bishop and the pawn. And with pawn takes... Yeah, their pieces have all these squares, and there's just the one file they have to worry about, and I had no squares on this one file. It just got tricky to move around. h6 was not a good call. Because, yeah, the knight can come to g6, the bishop can come to f5, cutting me here, and then the queen comes this way, and my king just runs out of squares altogether. So I just can't give that square to the knight. And, yeah, this sucks. It's just out of squares here for my king. But opening was funny because we tried to play an alphabet gambit with a 6. Tried to play an alphabet gambit with a 6, but then knight c3, right? So this is the fun line where we play here, we try to play d4, they take, we play d5, and we're going to pester this knight all over the board. This is what we were going for. They play e4, e5, f3. What if I tried it? Takes here. I guess the big difference, yeah, they have knight f3, and then in this position, we have this nice line with d5. Here, we actually don't have a great option, because d4 looks kind of inevitable. Like Thanos? I guess there's no c3, so we can just try to get away with something like this, but not so convinced. So, I mean, this was a very reasonable opening. Pretty tricky. Bishop e2 is a really good move. We really have to commend bishop e2 because they're being like, oh, there's pressure here, there's pressure here. It's a great little tool to use sometimes, just like if there's two things under attack, defend neither. Defend neither. Because, like, what I really want you to do is, like, really, really defend one, and then I'll take the other, and then you spent all that effort defending one. I can only take one of these things. And now both of them have consequences because you just made a useful move for yourself, right? Queen takes e4, castles. I think this is a lot of compensation for the pawn here. This is not what I wanted to play. I'm very down development, and I'm probably going to get fried on this e-line. And then otherwise, you know, this for g1, you take g7. This is also kind of ugly for me. So just defending neither was a good idea. Somehow my opponent blundered here. Yeah, gave me bishop h3 and queen g4. And suddenly, yeah, so when they play bishop d3 to protect e4, I played rook e8, play bishop d3 to protect it. Now queen g4, this looks good for me. Attacking the knight and pressuring here, right? So bishop h3, we got to develop in one move with the queen here. That's always nice. It's like, you know, an idea I loved when I was like 4 or 5. Play your queen g4, now attacking the knight. They played g3, just gambiting this pawn. Yeah, it makes sense they should have thrown in bishop takes f6 first, at least to mess that up. Bishop c1, I think, was a very good practical choice here. This would have made a lot of sense. Just like knight g4 trying to mate. And like knight f3, just knight e5, keep pressuring that knight. Yeah, just try and checkmate. I had like some concern that I'd get my queen trapped with bishop f1, but they can't move their rook because this just makes the problem way worse now that f2 hangs. So Yeah, makes a lot of would have made a lot of sense. I just never got my pieces so well coordinated. This wasn't so bad, but then I think yeah, what made it bad was pawn takes e5. Okay, oh well. Oh well. So we have 2 out of 4 entitled Tuesday thus far, which is okay. It's okay. It could be better. Could be worse. Had a couple unfortunate draw. I mean, I don't think any of the games, including the one I won, ended how they should have ended. Just gets down to down to when the time gets down, you know. So we'll keep that in mind. We'll try to be very quick. Try to be very very quick. Patrick Cieslak. Yeah, he found some good resources when we got very low. Oh, he wrote good game. And then yeah, the prior game. Want to talk about it. How many years have you been playing? What was the best thing for your development? Also, is the chat box on here? Chat box. I don't know if the chat box is on. If it's coming across the screen, let me know. How many years have I been playing? I learned the rules at 3 or 4. I played my first tournament when I was 5. So it's been a long time. It's been 20 years. And yeah, I mean, I started like with Susan Polgar's big book of chess tactics and Bobby Fischer's greatest games. I would read through those and play them out on like a physical board when I was like in kindergarten. So I took it seriously pretty quickly. The best thing for my development was probably just the absurd amount of tactics I did, especially when I was just starting out. Back then, well, so I was doing tactics on pieces of paper, or I'd set them up on the board, or it would just be pieces of paper in the position in front of me, and I'd just draw it out, and then it would be upside down, or the answer would be in the back of the book, and it'd be like, oh, my move was equivalent. You just kind of had to figure it out. There was no either your answer matched the solution or it didn't. When I got the tactics software on a DVD, that was big. And so, I could just do a bunch of those there. I mean, I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of it. But ran through a couple DVDs. Honestly, being exposed to just that many patterns and getting such quick feedback of the moments that decide games, that for me when I was little, that was it, right? Like either a tactic would happen to you or it would happen to them. It was very rare that I could win a game because my opponent had a weak pawn. Eventually, of course, you get to that level where that happens, but most of the time it's going to be a shot you see or don't. And just to have that intuition and have ideas that you're automatically looking for. For example, I don't know if I have a good example in front of me. Okay, I mean, my opponent saw it. For example, they played h5 trying to play h6, right? So that they could provoke h6. And now they're immediately realizing that the knight coming to g6, bishop coming to f5, queen coming to b3 is going to take away all 3 of these squares. And they set me up for a discovered attack. It all starts with discovered attacks. Those are like the building blocks from which these things come. So that was huge. I think, yeah, honestly, playing a lot of games in a vacuum does not improve you. I think to improve at any skill, not just chess, but anything, requires feedback, right? The same way you could hit a punching bag 1,000,000 times, but you could be doing it all wrong. You could be doing it like you're throwing your shoulder first, so you have a tell, but the punching bag's not going to be able to like, oh, you have a tell, I'll get it out the way. So it requires feedback every time you do it, and the more feedback you can get more precisely, you know, whether it's wrong or right, or specifically what you're doing wrong, the better. And so you don't have necessarily feedback from a chess game unless you analyze it. Right here, the only feedback I'd have if I just played the next game without looking at this is just the outcome of the game. And obviously there were a million ups and downs in the outcome of the game. So analyzing your games, doing tactics, that's where it's at. Alright, we only dropped 10 seconds here in the first game, as we get a Bushgas Gambit against an FM entitled Tuesday. Is the Russian flag still hitting? It is. C3. This is also a theory, but most people don't accept the Gambit and just... So here, it's ED4. This is a bad move. This is an okay move. Oh, car. This is the line, right? With DE4, trade takes. Takes an 87. This check here, bishop D2, is fine for them. So, okay, let's play this. I can't believe I even had to think about this. I've played this endgame a bunch of times. Out of the Bushgas. There's no other good option for white there. And this endgame's supposed to be pretty good for black, and the best move here is an 87. Specifically because bishop f4 attacking this pawn would be a good move, but this is a great way to parry that, attacking the bishop and protecting the pawn at the same time. Oh, there you go. Knight on e7 is a little better than knight on f6 because it had ways to deal with like rook g1 attacking g7, such as like knight g6 or knight f5. I mean, this is just tempo central. I can play f6 or knight c6 takes or g8, bishop. I should probably castle. Let's see here. Or g1. I still have f6, bishop c4, bishop e6. I mean, against bishop c4, my rook should come to d8, right? Knight c6 takes, rook g8, bishop c3. I mean, you gotta figure, like, after something like bishop f5, that there's a large development advantage for the pawn. I'll play castles. I don't know, rook g1, just f6 is fine. I wanted knight c6, but it's okay. Here, I was thinking of just rook d8. Knight c6 takes, knight e5, there's takes. You're gonna want bishop takes? If I go rook d8 right now, king c... I'm not sure where you're going with your king, honestly. Obviously it has to move right now. This is a big problem otherwise. Can't take it. Check will win the bishop on recapture. So there, but now, speaking of tempo central. Okay. You coming here? Knight c6, knight d5, rook d5. Probably good. Okay. Takes. Yeah, rook takes. I have to play. I can't play knight takes e5 because maybe I feel like I potentially had better that move. Okay, it's fine. Wanted to. Can I go check here and win something? Like maybe. Let's just take it. Can I get you? Big question, big question. So this is my big threat right now. The king is kind of low on squares. In general, that is knight d4. Seems like a good idea. Oh, I might have just won, because rook c6 attacks the bishop, and then knight c2, regardless of where you go, is my other threat. So it might just be the ball game. 3. Yeah, king d4. I just come here. Bishop is hit and knight c2, right? Am I missing something? Didn't even need some fancy mating net, although we were close to one. Yummy rook. Yeah, they just had a serious lack of development this game. Okay, I just need a move now. Bishop c4, I would take it, right? Okay, it's fine. That's probably not the best practical decision. Ooh, that's so clever. Go, go, go. Not checking me. One more spike check. Okay, I'm just gonna play this whole thing out. Okay, GG. Yeah, I think that was a nice Bushgas Gambit endgame against a strong player, FM. I think we really took advantage of their lack of development, even without queens on the board, right? So, let's have a look. E4, E5. So, Bushgas Gambit with C3. A lot of people play C3. And the reason is because, well, they're not really wanting to... How do I just get rid of these arrows? Just do this. A lot of people play C3. And the reason is because, well, they're not really wanting to accept the Gambit, but they're still trying to take advantage of the fact that we play Bishop C5 early. And it looks like they can get in just kind of a really quick D4. I don't know, something like this they're imagining. And they can just build a big center and take advantage of our early Bishop C5. However, we need to stop D4, so that's why we strike with D5. And then there's some fun lines here, which I'll actually get back to. Maybe white's better options after, but let's analyze this real quick if I can. D4. D4 they played in the game, and we take advantage of this with E takes D4, and C takes D4, as I said, was a blunder. What they should be playing is E takes D5, and this transposes kind of to this line, which is an option kind of out of the other move order as well. But let's look at the game moreover. So we get to this endgame. We have this option here, taking E4, counterattacking their knight. And yeah, so if they move their knight, okay, we're just going to be up like 2 pawns in this position. So they have to take C5, we trade queens. And this endgame is actually quite nice because they have this weak pawn and some other doubled guys over here. And we should just be able to castle and bring our rooks to the center really quickly. Not so obvious where this king goes, right? Either you have to play king C2 to get out of the way. Not obvious where to develop your pieces. King C2 should be vulnerable to some checks or the knight coming here or here. Otherwise, you kind of have to keep blocking the rook. So my opponent played bishop f4, which I don't think was the best move because I have here knight d5, like I said, which attacks the bishop and defends this pawn. So this move works out very nicely, knight e7. And then I just played castles to defend g7. Now they play knight c3, so their bishop, they realize their bishop is about to get hit badly one more time with knight c6. So they're trying to play here knight c3, remove the defender also of c7, or to just recapture with bishop takes c3, where the bishop would actually sit pretty nicely, still eyeing g7, right? Rook g1 they could play, if f6, okay, they have bishop c4 check. The bishop pair starts to look pretty nice if I allow that to happen. But rook d8, we're taking advantage of their poor king positioning. Not obvious what to do with your king, probably just king's... Okay, it's already very bad. It's already very bad. Yeah, but probably king c1 I think was a little better than king c2, because when they played king c2... Now we have lots of fun. Okay, knight c6, the knights can jump around to b4. Bishop f5 is also very natural, so the king has to keep coming out even further to b3. Otherwise, yeah, you can't step onto the path of this rook. And you can't take here either because the bishop is falling. And still at the moment I'm defending c7. So they're not attacking c7 at all. Really, like, their king is now vulnerable. They spent now too many moves moving their king around and moving their bishop around. And so we should be able to take advantage of this. So we keep developing with tempo here. Bishop f5 and knight c6. Attacking this bishop. If the bishop moves away, I think knight d4 check. This is already pretty brutal. The king has to kind of keep coming out even farther. And it should start to look bad rather quickly. Knight takes d5 played, rook takes d5 recapture, so we trade here c7 and c5. But again, the king has no obvious route home, and I'm immediately threatening knight d4 check, hitting the king and trying to grab the bishop. So the bishop has to move, right? So still no chance to develop these pieces, and already, because they're not able to bring out those pieces, I have a winning combination here. Although knight d4, it tells me, is a miss. Oh, I had checkmate in 2. I had checkmate. It was here and here. That's literally just me. It's literally just it. Bishop c2 and there. Okay, so they should have just been in a -5 position. It's crazy how bad their position got out how quickly. We'll look at this again with the engine. But yeah, so bishop d6. Okay, I played knight d4, I mean, which is still winning. King moves, and now rook c6. Pretty simple idea here. Now the bishop is under attack, and they can't deal with both the bishop being under attack and the fact that that fork is being threatened. So they have to lose here. They move the bishop, and knight c2. We just take the rook. And simplify the position. I mean, okay, I'm fine to be up a piece, and my rook just feasts on these pawns. Let's look at what maybe my opponent could have done and some other options in this bush gas as we wait for the next game to start. So, right, this c3 line, it's pretty interesting. d5. This is still a gambit, and there's still some very, very fun lines here, because e takes d5 is more common than d4, but c3 looks very, very stupid if you never get to play d4. Right? I mean, it's just not a useful move to develop at all. In fact, it's anti-useful to play knight c in terms of knight c3. Although d4 could make a very strong center, and is generally the antithesis of this bishop in the Bushgas Gambit. We're just going to try to stop that, and white shouldn't get too many developing moves. So another fun move we can play here is knight f6. And white here is at a serious crossroads. If they just kind of play bishop c4 and ignore everything, or let's say bishop e2, then this move e4 is very strong. This knight is running out of squares. Our next move is like queen takes d5. Our queen can recapture very nicely on d5, even right now, when there's no knight c3 to deal with, right? There's no knight c3, so the queen is actually very, very strong. What white should probably play is this move knight takes e5, but this can run into some trouble pretty quickly. What we play now is castles and queen takes d5. You can actually play it in either order. Let's say castles, so they play your d4, right? Okay, they played c3. What else are they going to do? They're playing d4, strengthening the knight and attacking the bishop. Now queen takes d5, right? So we could have done that in either order here. Queen takes d5, attacking the knight. Okay, d4 comes. Now castles. Interesting position. A lot of people blunder. I think one of the like bishop e2, bishop d3, and bishop c4 are like 3 of the 4 most common moves in this position. All of them lose immediately for the same reason that g2 is hanging. So we can just take g2, rook is hanging, and we're doing great. And otherwise, yeah, I mean, white needs to be very careful here. Full video breakdown on my channel. Subscribe if all that goes on YouTube. Let's try and play here c3. Let's try and play a Yan Yang Gambit, potentially entitled Tuesday. Okay, knight f6 played. Let's play an Abstinence Gambit entitled Tuesday. Take my pawn. No, not interested. Very quickly not interested. Very quickly uninterested. Okay. That's fine. A little rude, though. A little bit rude. What do we got here? Just castles. Just castle should be good. Takes. Knight takes, bishop b5, c4. Oh, they had knight takes e5. Interesting. F takes, it hits my rook. If I play there d3, threatening c4, maybe I can have some compensation here. Threatening c4. Actually, should I have just played c4? Oh, I should have played c4. No, I shouldn't have. Takes. I don't have queen a4 check. There's b5. But I could have played that with d3. Bishop moves back. And then I strike somehow. Okay, no, I think it's fine. I'm threatening c4. So I have to do something there. Knight g5. Is there a reason that's not just actually really good? Is there a reason that's not just really good? What are you doing about that? Yikes, that's gross. But how do I get you? 86. Queen d7. 96. How do I get you? 96, queen d7. I still want to put my knight there. Somehow, I thought I'd have something nice there. Maybe I should have played c4 before knight g4. Try and do that. Because knight e6, queen d7. I defend it, bishop d5. Might just get chased away and king runs. So I'm trying to push. I don't know why I thought this was going to be good. What was my point here? Yeah, they can still castle too. I had something before, no longer really. Well defended by my opponent. Well defended. What's this? Why would you do that? I should have gone here. I'll still try to do that. I definitely messed that up. Definitely messed that up somehow. No, my knight's just trapped. Dumb. Dumb. Okay, what went wrong there? What went wrong here? Yeah, I don't fully know this line of the Abstinence Gambit by the one and only Highly Cruciferous. Knight takes e5. F takes. This should be good. Oops. Why do I keep losing this? Played, yes, c4 first. Would have been stronger. I went here, f6, and actually they can defend this. It's very frustrating that, like, there's no, like, e6 takes and, like, checkmate. It's not actually working. King escapes in all cases. And if you just go here, I mean, they just step up. Okay, you know what? There's nothing better than just trading this glorious knight. If the knight could stay there, it's really, really good. It stops castling and makes a ton of threats. But it wasn't meant to be. I had to take it. I just wasn't really able to generate any problems. I was just kind of down a pawn. My opponent was good. So, interesting. Here, f takes, t3, threatening c4, come back. My opponent is following all the Stockfish moves just c4 first. The issue is knight c7 actually controls the square. But I guess, okay, we come here, attack this. f6, takes, check. Oh man, some fun lines here. You can leave the knight hanging. Bishop takes g5, attacking that. So, yeah, neither of us knew the theory, but he just played better than I did. Knight g5, it looks so appealing, but there's really not a ton here. There's really not a ton here. Thank you so much for all the compliments. What's up, Matt? How you doing? Junior Henry, Ben Prevor, Gambit Cow. I really like your style. The B3 Gambit French made video started playing even in classical. Share those games in classical. I love that. What would I recommend for black in the tirage variation in the French? It's actually a great question. What would I recommend for black? Well, the Gambit Chad way, of course, I see. Well, first of all, you're playing the French. But, okay. There's a fun, like, okay, c5, d4, knight f6. These are all the main moves. I like this move, knight c6. It's a little tricky, and it really takes advantage of the fact that this is specific to knight d2 and not knight c3, right? Obviously, what white wants to achieve with knight d2 is they like this nice, pretty little structure with c3. The point of knight d2 instead of knight c3 is that you can put the pawn here to hold this whole chain. Again, c5, right? You can still hold this chain. Maybe even f4 you can add. Obviously, the specifics matter. But that's the point of knight d2, is so that against c5 they have c3, and they'll keep this chain. What if we just go with knight c6, though, and hit d4 right away, and look at some other breaks we have in the position? So knight c6 really kind of negates the main break black has in the French, but it's a really intriguing option. Please don't not pair me for Title Tuesday. I hate when it does this. Okay. It will pair me, right? It will give me a game. I'm a little afraid it won't. I'm sure it will. Okay. So, knight c6, right, we're attacking d4. If they just play c3, thinking they're doing the same exact thing, then actually after e5, this is already quite a nice position for black. It's a little weird, e6, e5, and it's not something that a lot of players with either color know, but like e takes, the queen actually sits very nicely here. There's no knight c3, there's no bishop c4, right, that's going to hang. And, you know, if the queen can be on d5 or d4, like typically we say don't bring your queen out in the beginning. Yes, that's because she can get attacked. But if she can't get attacked, yeah, she's doing a great job. It's the queen. It's the freaking queen that can just like do everything for in a million different directions. So this is already very good for black. What white should play is this move knight f3. So defending d4 and stopping e5. The trick is now when we play knight f6 and encourage this e5 knight d7, the knights are a little awkward. The knights are a little awkward. Because what white normally does in, like, what Tirage players are used to is like this. This is the much more common scenario, or here, right? Okay, we attack d4. This knight comes here, right? Just after the bishop came to d3. And then this knight comes here, so that there's enough defenders on d4 in these lines. When the knights come to f3, it's a little awkward, and also why a lot of people just play c3 right away, because they're not used to it. Knight f6, knight d7. Yes, we don't have the c5 break. The break we do have, so like let's say they continue with just normal stuff, c3, which doesn't do a ton in this position, because again, we're not pressuring there. Our other break is f6. It's just f6. We just go with that break. Queen takes f6, bishop d6, castles in e5. I can talk more about this later, but I think it's pretty tricky, and it's not well known. We're playing a WGM. For c5. Okay, let's play knight c3. Played c3 last time. a6. So a6 is a pretty interesting move. I mean, it takes away all options along this diagonal for the bishop. Bishop must go here. So the bishop goes there. We'll play this with this knight h3 line. Yeah. What do I do here? The castles? really trying to attack quick. Okay. H5, H4. Could just play G4. Not really too sure. Want to put a pawn on H3 instead. Would probably be better. Okay, let's come here. Spending too much time. Should just make decisions. F5, knight F4, or knight F2. Should just make these decisions. Let's trade this knight because it looks good. Just play a little bit more intuitively because I know how much time is going to matter. Let's just trade this. Just trade. So they're going to try and castle it because I've exposed my king a little bit. But I like this B4 strike potentially. It's annoying. Particularly if you go there, it's annoying. Particularly if you go there. I guess trade knight G4. I don't really think they can come here. Knight G4 right now, I can take D4. I was trying to distract them and then just go D4 so I don't have to deal with pressure here. Really, what I should have done is this, knight F2. Would have been a little bit more sound. But I'd like to... That should just go away. Okay. Oh. Seems like a win. They came all the way back. Seems annoying. Alright. Looking good. Looking good. I'm surprised it went that well. Wow. Okay. You probably don't want to allow my rook to come through, right? So there. Here. I should have gone G6. I should have gone G6, right? Okay, but E7, I'm still going to make sure that rook can't join the party by forcing the king to the back rank. Went okay. Queen B6. Should I go King H1 or D4? Go with that option. Okay, now G6. Now coming around. Queen takes B5 almost works, but Rook A8 isn't quite checkmate. I should have gone... I'm not really sure, actually. Let's go D4, maybe D5. What do I break through? I gotta be a little wary of my own king. So, okay, yeah, they're guarding A7. I think this endgame should just be really good. Rook should be there. Okay, take away Rook H5. this is stupid. No. That went wrong. This is hanging. This is very stupid. Why did I do that? I just wanted to bring the knight right there, and I didn't even think. Just have one very clear goal. I mean, I should just be down a million pawns, right? Oh, I ran out of squares. I got mated. Oh, didn't even see it. This is probably lost. That sucks because I was obviously better the whole game. I mean, this endgame should just be really, like, to lose this endgame is crazy. I think I should have started with knight d3 because this is very strong. If the knight comes to c5, really obliges d6, and then from there, there's no knight d6. So then they're kind of really stuck. Should not have happened this way. For future reference, what's the best way to deal with this? Oh, g4, it was the best way. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they're just trying to open this file. Like, even if I let... That's what I was thinking. Like, even if I let it happen, it's fine. I don't know. It's just something that makes sense in Blitz. Just, like, throw this pawn down against the fianchetto. But the whole position should be very nice for white. As we generated something over here. Everything... This was all quite accurate, in fact. Got this very nice pawn chain, which should also be very good long term, right? Like any endgame, and then I can pressure g7. Can get very difficult to defend, very consequential to lose that pawn, right? So this should have been quite nice. Yeah, I mean, I could have dodged that queen trade. But okay, I just allowed it. I mean, yeah, losing this is crazy. This was just really stupid. I just hung e4 completely. I just hung the most important pawn. I mean, without that, yeah, this all crumbles, right? We tried to generate something. I don't think she actually gave me a chance. This is all hanging. I don't think there was any actual blunder. Yeah, I blundered mate in one, but it didn't matter. Okay. So, yeah, it just sucks. I went here and this was hanging. I just kind of was like, yeah, knight d3, knight c5. It'll be there and then it'll defend everything. But I was not thinking about the 4 pawn here. To be fair, I did kind of... Well, bishop e2 was against the rook activating this way. But there's really no future for the rook if it does activate that way. Like, you can imagine it gets all the way there. King h1. It has no squares to go to. And so really this rook should invade. Bishop takes b5 should be next. Overwhelming this knight. I should be up a pawn at minimum. But yeah, I like this idea of knight d3 first. Because knight d6 is a good resource. It attacks this and, like, defends everything here. Maybe the knight can come to c4. Knight d3, yeah, this is just so strong that now d6 happens. And now it's saying even just bring the knight right back to f2. Just force d6, bring the knight right back to f2. That's pretty crazy. And next is bishop f1. Next is bishop f1, and there's just no way to defend this, I think. I don't know what you do. Rook can come out this way. But yeah, the rook has no future. That's, I think, also another reason why the knight comes to f2, is so that there's no way for the rook to get out of this little box. The only way is that way. But so like king e7, bishop f1. Again, hard to move around. Just take it, rook a7. Knight d3 and knight f2 back would have been very, very, very nice. Yeah, kind of unfortunate. I think this part went well. Because what we did... Yeah, I mean, I just kind of have space all over the board. You can see that my center got ginormous. With my pawns all the way around here, I took the knight. The knight kind of really had no squares. And then a4. Alright, so queen d4, attacking g7, a4. We kind of actually played this quite well, making strikes all over the board, problems everywhere, lack of development, king unsafe. But yeah, I mean, they kept hanging on here, e5, so that they don't open this part up. Yeah, tough. Oh well. That's Hikaru's wife? Oh yeah, Hikaru did marry a chess player, yeah? Yeah, Hikaru and his lovely wife. Oh, interesting. Okay, well, congrats to her. GG. Alright. Knight f3. What are we gonna do? Let's do this. Ah. Okay. Well, it just transposed to a Catalan. Okay. It's a little early for queen c2, isn't it? Takes. Is the point like... Bishop d7, you'll play an e5 right now? I guess typically of these moves included. C6. Alright, let's go here. Alright, we traded off for a poor bishop. I feel like I should be able to punish the lack of castle somehow. 5 takes. Knight d7. I think I should just play like knight a5 and c5 probably. Knight a5, queen moves. c5 takes. Rook c8. Probably. I'm going to try to make this work. Maybe it would have made more sense to just start with rook c8. Then after castles, then this would have been more well supported. Because like queen c3 can force my hand right away. Queen c2. I also kind of gave my hand away. Although either options do. Queen c3, I actually have this nice move, knight d5. If you take my knight, I have check. Bishop, king is still in the middle. Otherwise, you take this knight. Oh, they didn't see it. I assume they didn't see it. Maybe they wanted me to go knight d5. Regardless, it works. Bishop takes d5, queen takes d5. This is very good for me. Queen takes a5, I take advantage of that. Nice little tactical element. Otherwise, we're kind of pressing a little bit, asking this queen where to go. c2, I mean, like, I can bother the queen more. In fact, like, probably talking about repeating moves. Let's just strike with c5. So takes now has to be bad, because knight b4 and knight d3. The king's still in the middle. My opponent played this weird move order with queen c2 first, and they played e3. I think they played a lot of moves before castling that they shouldn't have. Queen c2 first, I'm sure is fine, but then you gotta get your king out. This, I assume they just didn't see this. Knight's coming to d3. Also, just rook c8 last move was good. I can even take c5. You can't take my bishop because of knight d3, but let's go knight d3. Here's the thing. Knight d3 isn't that good. King e2. Then what? Okay, take it. The thing about knight d3 is I don't know if knight d3 is good. Bishop c5. Bishop c5 honestly might be better. It honestly might be better. Because castles now play rook c8. And I'm just kind of like looking at just bishop moves and knight c2. Which is kind of a very simple idea. Trapping the rook. So knight a3 could be played if you trust that I have nothing good here. Which I probably don't. I don't know where this goes. Bishop... here? I don't know where it goes. Knight a3, I might just move. Like, this is a move. Everything's a move. Can I win immediately, though? Here. I don't know. We're going to find out. I want knight c2 into trap, but I don't want to lose a5, which I guess was their point. Oh, what? No. Okay, they got 2 pieces for the queen. It wasn't that desperate, I don't think. Okay, but they got 2 bishops for the queen, which is kind of annoying. I should just do this. Shouldn't I? Seems like a practical choice. Rook c7 would have been better. Keeping the pressure on b2 and that knight. Should still be winning something. b3, I wanted rook c8, obtaining the knight, and then a2. As long as there's no back rank trickery. I should throw an f5. Okay, this is weird. I'll throw an f5. Maybe I took away a resource, but... Okay, no, but this is good. Knight d3... No, rook f8 was a much better move. Let's go here. A little on the clock. But we played well this game, actually, for a change. Yeah, rook c2 is just killer. You gotta play knight c3. Yeah, you just take it. Here. Oh, was I not winning? How do I win? Where's the win? King's coming in. Figure something out. I think they're kind of tied down. King's coming in, and then king here, and then mate? What's my plan? What is actually my plan? This. I trapped the knight. Okay. There we go. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Nice. Okay. Probably a good game on my part, actually, for a change. Imagine that. Big hello from Edmonton. What's up? Mirko Gruberovich. Go Oilers. So, f6, e4, e6. So we have a Catalan, but with a quick queen c2. Typically, what happens in the Catalan is castles, then takes and queen c2 attacking this, right? And the big problem for black is to solve the problem of this bishop, to get on this diagonal. Like, a6 is nice, because if b5 comes without tempo, like imagine it's b6 and I try and get on this diagonal, then as soon as you're trying to get on the diagonal, it gets brutal, right? The rook is just hit, and this gets very bad. The bishop can't come here. But if you're able to play b5 before knight e5 is able to be thrown in, right? So you play it here with tempo, so you can do that in one turn. Here, black is doing okay. The issue is in, like, this line. Okay, they're going to actually play a4 so that you can't, you know, get on this diagonal so easily. You got to kind of squiggle your way on it. What I did is taking and now bishop d7, trying to play bishop c6. This should probably be bad for me a little bit. Yeah, okay, should be a nice advantage for white, because I had to bring my bishop to c6, but they were able here before I could challenge this bishop adequately, right? I'd love to just trade these guys, but they play an e5, so now I jump bishop c6, and now they trade. Now they trade with their knight, keeping their bishop pair. And they could take this and ruin my structure a little bit. They don't want to make that trade, probably. But I can get my way out of this. I can play queen d5, trying to play c takes d5, or c5. I can use these files here. So I have some play here when they gave up their best piece. So they don't really want to do that. They try to play e3, but they're really kind of pushing the envelope, and they have to be now precise, which I guess they weren't. So I had to find the right square for their queen, which I guess is like e2, totally out of the way. And I was going to, yeah, hit with c5. Okay, they'll have a bishop pair, but I'll have some, you know, at least my pieces are doing all right, and I didn't just give them a really nice center. Queen c3 is kind of the start of some trouble for them, because I have this nice little resource of knight d5, attacking the queen, and as I was saying, if they take the knight, they lose the queen. And they can't take this knight either, because queen takes d5 not only defends the knight, but attacks the rook. So I hit the queen one more time, and the queen continues to have issues kind of finding a square. Now I'm playing c5, d takes c5, knight b4, so they're correctly able to get away with this. I guess queen d2 was better. Here the check is inconsequential, I guess, because we're trading queens. And so your king safety is not a problem, and in fact even beneficial that you're on e2 in this endgame if you play like this. So, yeah. So, I'm probably going to exit this arena, honestly. We'll have to run. But queen c3 played, and knight d3 check here is okay. Knight takes c5, but I didn't really think there was... Yeah, I mean, it's good. Like, their king's on e2, my king's on g8, and there's queens on the board. I didn't really think there was, like, a huge follow-up here. I mean, this was totally playable. But I like this with bishop takes c5, actually. Just allowing them to castle and rook c8. And this is kind of everything I wanted, right? I mean, they had to move their queen a million times. Didn't get a chance to develop these pieces. Whereas my pieces are doing a lot. And without any development, that means, like, knight c2, right? You haven't moved these pieces, can trap your rook. And they have to be very precise here. Yeah, I was saying during the game knight a3... That's obviously not the ideal square for your knight, but okay, my bishop has no great squares, your queen just needs to find any square, and you're not losing your rook. In the game, it was played bishop d2, but now just bishop e7, and okay, yeah, they maybe had to play queen takes b4. Not sure where the queen is going. Yeah, I mean, the queen comes somewhere. I just kind of need to not lose this knight, yeah, and then this other one comes into c2 somehow, or forks and wins that bishop. So, yeah, knight c2 becomes very serious here. They have to take b4, and... this part, yeah, maybe they thought this was a fork here, and so they'd be getting more material, but my queen is defending that knight, so I can just play here, rook e8. And then in this, I think, is a simple, practical decision here. Like, it's not obvious how you're breaking through. Like, obviously, yeah, the queen is better than two bishops, but how are you winning this game exactly? This is a little bit more obvious how I'm winning this game, because I'm just going to pressure here. Obviously, like, a queen for a rook and a bishop isn't the best trade, but those were a pretty good rook and a pretty good bishop, and here I'm just up a solid exchange in the endgame. And with rook d2 attacking b2 and pressure here, I'm just more confident that I can win this a little bit more easily. So they grab b7, I play rook b8, bishop e4, takes away like knight d3 options for me. I invade rook d2, knight a4 I think is a good choice. If they play here b3, oh, knight takes b4, it gave me a brilliant. It gave me a brilliant. Just for that nice little practical choice of giving back my queen. I like that. Thank you so much. So, knight a4 was played, yeah, because b3 not the best option, because I'm going to chase this bishop, and then probably chase this knight, after which a2 is falling, and, you know, everything else should be falling. Rook c2 coming in. So, in the game, let's see here, knight a4 played a 5, a3. Happy to make those trades. Maybe, yeah, okay, I trade here. They do a very good job, because them eliminating a7, drawing chances are going to increase if you won't, like, the more pawns you trade, and also if you only have one half of the board to deal with. They only have one half of the board to deal with, and, like, just defending f2, even though they ended up having to do it very passively, right? So the fact that they were able to make this trade, yeah, so here I probably just should have saved this pawn. The fact that they were able to make this trade is kind of not the best. It's kind of not the best for me, because there's really only one thing I can attack right now if I'm going to try to win this game, right? So, like, my rooks can pour in here, but as long as the knight stays on d1, I'm never going to win f2. So that's why, you know, okay, I'm just trying to move around, just trying to figure something out. King's coming all the way down. My big idea, if they really did nothing, was, yeah, I was going to bring the king to g2, and then just bring the rook to e2. So that was going to be a checkmate. I think that was not obvious to stop, actually, if you're just holding the same sort of passive defense of knight on d1, defending the knight, and trying to just defend f2 at all costs. It's the only point you have to defend in your position. So, yeah, passive defense here. The king comes to g2. The thing about the king on g2 is that I can, well, I eventually arrange it. I can win the knight. King is no longer on e1 defending the knight. Yes, it's on g2, preventing me from coming in, but I was able to trap the knight here, run him out of squares, and win that guy and win the game. So yeah, the Catalan here, it's a very good opening because the bishop on g2 can be quite strong. I think, yeah, White's issue really was that they delayed castling. It really was that they delayed castling. I think, like, the absolute best way to play against this, yeah, queen c2. So you want to play, like, c5 really early. I guess trying to take advantage of the fact that the king's kind of still there, make some trades here. But, yeah, typically they're able to have that bishop and not have to deal with its counterpart along here, right? You can imagine if, like, castles and I achieve bishop c6, okay, this is some sort of achievement for black. Now anytime the knight moves, I'm able to trade off for that very good bishop. Otherwise, yeah, he's very annoying. He pressures b7 or a knight on c6 or anything, and it makes queenside development very difficult. But we were able to get him in this game even after that trade because of the lack of castling. So we played here knight d5, and c5 we struck very quickly, grabbed this pawn, and yeah, this was the notable blunder in the game. If they just played knight a3, okay, they were just down some development. But really with bishop d2 here, yeah, now they're paying for the lack of development. Knight c2, because you haven't brought those out, is going to trap your rook. And I think kind of, yeah, this was the other key moment. Obviously, you can tell by the exclams that just giving the queen back. Just giving the queen back for an endgame that I know I can win comfortably. Like, yeah, queen c7, bishop a3, this is probably winning, but probably a little bit more difficult, actually, to punch through. I have to kind of trade everything else off and find something to win. Like, and all endgames are decided by passed pawns, so I need a passed pawn at some point. Not so obvious where that's coming. Okay, hope this was instructive. I actually have to sign off for today, but yeah, appreciate you all. Subscribe if this goes on YouTube. And I'll see you guys next time. Subscribe on YouTube right now if you're watching. And join the Gambit Sheds Discord there if you're interested in private lessons.